For those of you that watch this channel, and you see me go through the constant metagame analysis, constantly looking at this, well, I've proposed 5 interesting questions off of deck list, and I wanted to ask these today because I think these are very important questions as a player. Once you started to pick up your deck and started going with it, are you doing this? So these are 5 decks in the metagame and 5 discussion points on them. So let's dig into this, shall we? Question number 1 is Cyber Dragon or not Cyber Dragon is the question. So if you guys have been seeing, Orcust decks are playing Cyber Dragon Naxter. You guys have seen future other decks like Sky Striker are playing the Chimera Tech Fortress and the Mega Fleets in their extra deck, looking at the machine matchups, and they're like, these are ways that I can out things. Now the question is, do I Cyber Dragon or do I not Cyber Dragon? So in a much heavier Orcust format, or a Sky Striker format, or a Orcust format, if you're playing Orcust, yes, Cyber Dragon Naxter is a fantastic combo extender for you. You get to break off your opponent's Sky Striker link so you don't have to worry about your opponent's monster floating. I think that's the most literal important thing that the Cyber Dragon engine provides, is that free chunk off. If you summon a Naxter or a Cyber Dragon against Solid, your opponent's going to have to bait out their destruction right there. They're losing their link monster. That's the value you are getting out of this. Now, you don't have to play it. This is one of those tech options that we have seen as of late that has been adding a little bit of extra spice into the Orcust matchup, and now that it's been brought up, we've really headed down that Cyber Dragon path, at least in Naxter. I've seen pure Cybers in the side. Like I said, you see those Mega Fleets and things sitting in these side deck or extra decks for these particular machine matchups, and it's important to understand why they are there and what they are providing to the metagame. So, like I said, do you Cyber Dragon or do you not Cyber Dragon? That's one of the important questions this format, especially if you're an Orcust player. Even so much tutoring some of the more rogue decks out there. Yeah, like, are you trying it? Have you tested it? What do you think? Now, another one that I saw here was, do we play Cyframe Lord Zeta in Pendulum or do we not? Now, if you guys haven't been keeping up with Pendulum this format, Pendulum, it's literally the standard Endymion build spliced in with some of your more desirable cards. And then you've got your standard version off to the side. It's also playing Zephyr cards. And then it caught my attention that a few lists have been playing Cyframe Lord Zeta. And Zeta is a generic level 7 that, I think this guy has, what, 2,500 attack for the most part? Yeah, okay, so he's got 2,500, and he's generic, alright? So what he does is, once per turn during either player's turn, so this is a quick effect, you could target one face-up attack position monster with special summon from that your opponent controls, banish both this card and that card until your next standby phase. And then, if this card is in your graveyard, you can target one other Cyframe card in your graveyard, return this card to the extra deck, and if you do, return that card to your hand. Well, the first thing I get off of this is I get an interruption off of my opponent's field, which interruptions are always good. The other thing is I can make this in the extra monster zone blanket out, and I can clear up my own zone. It's also level 7, so I get more consistency added into an already alright consistent deck. And then my added spice to this, and I think this is the thing that players really look to when they play this card, it's, am I playing Cyframe cards? Am I playing Gamma? You know, the one that matters the most. And I think looking at it that way, if we are adding in all of this spice into the deck, is it worth it to play it? And I would say yes, for the most part. So Zeta's an interesting option. Now, I saw Phantasme being played in Subterra. I've seen Phantasme being played in Sky Striker. I've seen Phantasme being played in about everything that's rogue at this point. And my question is, do we Phantasme or do we not Phantasme? So, first thing I want to say here is Phantasme and Striker, it's okay. I'm not a super big fan of it. Netting extra card advantage out of the card is pretty okay. Alright, like, fixes your bad hands. Sure, it's great. Phantasme and Subterror? Oh, I dead drew Double Guru? Oh, I can fix that, right? Cheers, by the way, Phantasme being a good card. Let you unbrick your hand. Phantasme and Ultrageist. My opponent Link summoned. Let's go ahead and stack back that hand. Now, Phantasme against Subterror? No, no, no. Phantasme against Ultrageist? Probably gonna be bad. Probably. It depends. Like, your opponent won't Link summon on you till it's probably too late, like, after they started grinding out your resources. Phantasme is good against everything that Link summons. Orcust, Subterror, Salamangreat, Striker. Alright, those are your big three. Alright, maybe Thunder. It really depends, like, on which version of Thunder. And then you have it against Rogue, and you're just like, this could be anything else in these matchups. And that's kind of what I've seen. Phantasme with a more intermediate style of player. It's really interesting because, like, if you're going to a regional and you hit that intermediate X2, X3 bracket and you just start running into Rogue, Phantasme is terrible. But if you're playing better throughout the day, Phantasme is better. It depends on your playstyle and things like that. If you really want to play it. And I think that's an interesting question. Do we Phantasme or not? Alright. Do we play Triple Will of the Salamangreat, or do we not play Triple Will of the Salamangreat? So in my previous video, you heard me mention that we've got Triple Will of the Salamangreat showing up in builds. We're using this to counteract getting Nibirued. We see this card, we're like, alright, cool. You Nibirued me, I can continue on along with my day. I can combo extend, I'm still able to build a board. That's what I want. And then you've got other builds that are playing One Will. Alright, so you're just using it as a generic extender. It's pretty cool. And then I've seen builds that they're like, I don't even need it. Get it out of here. The question you have to ask yourself as a player is, are you going 0, 1, and 3? I guess there could be an argument for 2, but I feel like at that point, if we're arguing for 2 will, that we should probably be just playing 3 over here. The question you have to ask yourself as a player, though, is 1, am I worried about getting Nibirued? Is there a lot of Nibiru at my locals? Is there a lot of Nibiru at my regionals? And this is going to have to be a judgment call that you yourself as a player are going to have to make. I don't have a particular recommendation on this. Now, it's going to be something you're going to have to play test. You're going to have to find yourself that nice, consistent middle ground to kind of adapt and go with, because if you can't, you're not going to succeed, first off. But 0, 1, or 3 are your options. Any of the builds work, but it comes down to your player preference. Talk about dodging the question here, but like, I haven't tested any of them. This is just what I've been seeing off of generalized deck list, and it's a wide variety, if that. Now, the last thing here. Hey, True Draco. We need to talk about, do we Inspector Border or do we not Inspector Border? And I guess we'll also ask the question of, should I Erupt or should I not Erupt, is the question. So when you look at Inspector Border as a card, you're like, oh, this card is good. You got True Draco builds are playing 0, 2, or 3. Or you play it in the side deck as a 3-of. I think Inspector Border is a very good card for what the deck aims to do, especially if you're worried about getting Ash Blossomed. If you're playing in an event where you're going to see more hand traps and things, Inspector Border will do that thing for you. But you have to understand, Border shuts off your own True Draco monsters. So if you're attempting to combo off and things like that, downside is it's going to depend on the hand, it's going to depend on the deck, and it's going to depend on the player. But for the most part, I've seen a general consensus of there needing to be an Inspector Border at some capacity, but I don't know. If I was playing a True Draco right now, I'd probably side them. Like, I don't see any point. Now, extra deckless or extra deck True Draco with Erupts. I'm a fan of Erupt. I think 4 skill drains in a deck is amazing. Alright? But I also understand that playing Super Poly is really good. Like, if I go second with Draco and I'm playing Super Poly, I can break their board. If I'm going first with Erupt, I win harder. Like, you're going to have to ask yourself, which of your poisons are you going to go with here? Which of these is going to mean the most to me in the long run as a player? And currently, I see the merit in both builds, but as a player that would only play this deck locally, I would stick to just playing your standard Monarchs Erupt build. Regional level, I'd probably play the Super Poly build, because I can generically break more decks, I have more options, and I mean, I don't have to worry about much of these consistencies. The deck is very dice rolly, don't get me wrong, but it really depends. Like, it's another important question you're going to have to ask yourself. So guys, what do you think about these 5 questions? Please leave a comment down below, tell me what you guys think, and well, catch you guys on the flip side. Peace out. The ride never, well, truly ends. Thank you, patrons. Without you guys, I don't know what I'd be wearing in these videos. I might be a Truffle Shuffle incident all over again. Guys, please also check out VanCole40 for some awesome Vanguard content. Some other interesting stuff you might find up here on the left or in the description as well. Thanks for watching.